Listen, evening travelers. Under the ancient skies of Katiopa, the river still whispers forgotten secrets. Tonight, I'll take you to the edge of those deep waters, where roots intertwine with memory, where legends come to rest. Let your heart open gently, with no rush, no noise. Here is the story of an encounter that the wind itself only dares to tell in a hushed voice. Make yourself comfortable. The story begins. The Secret of Anani and Mami Wata. Many tales circulate throughout Katiopa about Mami Wata, the mysterious daughter of the waters. Some whispered that she was malevolent, luring reckless souls to lose themselves in the depths. Others, on the contrary, worshipped her as the benevolent sovereign of rivers and seas, capable of granting unexpected gifts to those who spoke to her with respect. This tale will neither confirm nor deny those beliefs. It will simply settle between the whispers in that fragile space where nuance is born, where legends breathe softly without needing judgment. And this story began on the bank of a great river, an ancient river so vast that in misty weather it seemed to lose itself beyond the horizon. Its dark waters carried in their folds memories older than the villages, older even than the memory of men. On the shore, leaning over the water, stood a majestic tree, a giant twisted by wind and ages, whose thick roots plunged into the soft earth before disappearing into the cool embrace of the river. Its trunk, broad and cracked, seemed to breathe slowly, in rhythm with the current. The village's fishermen said that on nights of the full moon, if one listened well enough, the tree spoke, and that in exchange for a well-phrased question, it could offer answers from elsewhere. But never, oh never, had anyone dared to tell what they had heard. The tree's confidences, they said, were not meant to be shared. They were to be carried within, like one carries a precious secret in the hollow of the heart. Among the souls who lived by the great river, there was a woman with eyes deep as water under the moon. Her steps, light and quiet, glided over the beaten earth without leaving a trace. For a long time, an invisible weight had bowed her slender shoulders, the longing for a child that would not come. In her village, looks grew heavy. Rumors, sharper than blades, traveled from mouth to mouth. They said that the earth had more fertility than her womb, that the wind carried more seeds than her breath. Every whispered word, every sidelong smile, ploughed into her a furrow of silent sadness. The woman did not shout. She did not cry. She wove her sorrow in the silence between daily tasks, between nights without sleep. One evening, as the full moon rose slowly above the river, she felt a decision arise within her, soft and inevitable, like the opening of a nocturnal flower. She remembered the stories told by the fishermen at the evening fire, the leaning tree, the whispered answers, the secrets entrusted to patient hearts. She knew that asking the tree a question was no trivial act, that some returned changed, in ways so subtle that even their loved ones struggled to understand. But she was no longer afraid. Her heart held a void so vast there was no room left for fear. Under the pale light of the moon, she left her home. She walked barefoot on the cool earth, leaving behind judgments and expectations. Before the leaning tree, she knelt. Her trembling hands brushed the dew-dampened bark. And in the vibrant silence of the night, she voiced her wish to find a way to become a mother. The very moment her wish rose, no stronger than a sigh, the tree seemed to shiver. A faint crack ran through its trunk, like an old yawn, and before the woman, the bark gently parted. A narrow, dark opening appeared between two thick roots, yet strangely welcoming. From this fissure came a warm breath, rich with the scent of wet earth, ancient wood, and dormant secrets. The woman hesitated for just a fragment of a second. Then, guided by a silent trust, she stepped forward, crossing the threshold as one enters a sacred place. Inside, a staircase wound, carved directly into living wood. The steps, uneven and gleaming with moisture, sank toward the heart of the tree, drawing in the light of the outer world in a soft, infinite spiral. With each step, the air grew denser, laden with a low vibration, as if the heartbeat of the river, of the wind, of the earth itself were answering one another in a deep chorus. Sometimes, a thin trickle of water seeped through the walls, running along the steps like discreet tears. Sometimes, a pale glow appeared to float in the shadows, its source impossible to discern. The woman descended slowly, barefoot on the warm wood, her arms slightly outstretched to brush the living walls. Her heart beat to the rhythm of an ancient drum that only she could hear. She did not know how long she descended. Here there were no hours, no seasons, only the gentle waiting for a meeting, the slow glide toward the invisible. Then, little by little, the darkness lightened. A salty fragrance rose to meet her, mingled with the gentle rustle of calm waters. Soon the staircase opened onto a strange inner shore, bathed in bluish light, soft as a summer night, and before her lay a riverbank no human eye had beheld without trembling, the sacred shore, where legends come alive. On the bank, veiled in a light mist, the river water seemed to breathe gently, like a great body in slumber. And then, without sound, she appeared. At the water's edge a shape took form, first blurred, as though born from the very breath of the mist. Then, little by little, it became clear, revealing a strange beauty that held the air suspended. Mami Wata. Her skin, of deep obsidian black and shining, captured the bluish light and returned it in mysterious gleams. Every shimmer on her body seemed to tell ancient tales of hot sand, dense rains, and star-filled nights. Her face, finely sculpted, bore the tranquil nobility of forgotten queens. Her eyes, vast and unfathomable, gleamed with a light mingled of gentleness and enigma, as though night itself had hidden secrets there. Her hair, ink black, fell in heavy, damp braids upon her powerful shoulders, framing her noble posture. Half woman, half fish, her body extended into a broad tail of sumptuous scales, reflecting hues of jungle green and deep lagoon blue. Each undulation of her tail stirred scented spirals of water that mixed with the warm air of the shore. She stood tall and sovereign, her slow arms brushing the air around her as if weaving the invisible threads of the world. From her presence emanated a dense, commanding force, peaceful but unpredictable, like the great river itself. The woman, frozen at the threshold of the shore, felt in herself a shiver of wonder mingled with sacred fear. Mami Wata was not smiling, nor was she threatening. She was neither friend nor foe. She simply was, magnificent, untouchable, infinite. Then Mami Wata's voice rose, deep and calm, vibrating in the air like a song from elsewhere. Why do you seek to bear a child? Faced with the question, the woman was initially silent. The flood of emotions knotted in her chest searched for words. Then, in a low voice, as carried by the river's breath, she spoke. "I want a child," she whispered. "I want to fill the emptiness within me. I want to answer the looks that tear me apart. I want to stop being the one people pity or mock." Her voice trembled slightly, but she did not avert her gaze from Mami Wata. The daughter of the waters listened without motion, her deep gaze anchored in the woman's, as though to probe not her words, but the truth hidden in the core of her being. A long silence settled, thick, resonant. Then, in a calm tone, without judgment or particular softness, Mami Wata said, "And what if your need is not to possess a child, but to give the love your heart holds in silence?" The woman felt a warm breeze brush her face, like an invisible caress. Fleeting images crossed her mind. Barefoot children running between huts, hands reaching for absent arms, eyes full of expectancy. "The child you seek may already exist," continued Mami Wata, "in those whom life has left alone, by the roadside, at the edge of the world." The woman's heart tightened gently. Until that moment, she had only seen motherhood as a victory over shame, a revenge on solitude. But at that instant, something within her cracked open, letting a new light through. "I could be a mother without bearing a child," she murmured, almost to herself. Mami Wata let out an imperceptible shiver, like the shadow of a smile. "To be a mother," she said, "is above all to love, to nourish, to protect. Lonely hearts wait for more than an empty cradle. They wait for a soul large enough to welcome them." The woman closed her eyes. Inside her, the pain had quieted, replaced by a warm, heavy peace, like the river's waters on a windless night. When she opened them again, Mami Wata was gone. Only the mist remained, the murmur of the current, and in the air, the quiet certainty of a new path. The woman climbed the root staircase slowly, leaving behind the sacred shore, the mists, and the salty perfume of the encounter. When she emerged beneath the night sky, the full moon still bathed the world in milky light. The great leaning tree, silent, gently closed its bark once more, like closing a precious book on a whispered secret. The woman stood for a moment, breathing the cool river air, her gaze lost in the dancing reflections on the water. She was no longer quite the same as she had been when she entered the tree. Something in her had shifted, like an underground river finding new momentum. She returned to the village before dawn, barefoot once again greeting the cool earth. She said nothing to the curious who watched her from the corner of their eyes. She did not need words. Her gaze, clearer and vaster, spoke for her. In the days that followed, the woman began to open her home. At first timidly, then with a quiet strength, she welcomed the children who wandered in the alleys, those whose parents had disappeared, those life had left alone. She wove lullabies for them in the quiet of night. She tended their scraped knees, shared with them the meager harvest from her fields. Each returned smile, every hand clasped in hers, was like a star relit in her inner sky. Sometimes in the evening, she would return alone to the river bank. Sitting against the knotted trunk of the leaning tree, she closed her eyes and listened, Then, in the gentle rustle of leaves or the steady lap of water, she felt a benevolent presence watching over her. Sometimes, a discreet piece of guidance brushed her mind, a soft intuition whispered by the breeze. Mami Wata no longer appeared, but her breath remained, carried by the river, by the tree, by the eternal memory of water. And in that secret bond, the woman drew the strength to be, day after day, a mother beyond blood, a mother of wandering hearts, a mother of light. Since that time, by the great river, life flowed, tranquil and deep. The leaning tree continued to plunge its roots into the living water, holding within its heart the secrets of the ages. The woman, now surrounded by a constellation of laughing, bright children, sometimes walked alone along the shore, fingers brushing the rough skin of the old tree, as if to thank it in silence. On nights of the full moon, it still happened that some fishermen swore they saw a figure dancing on the river bank, half woman, half fish, beautiful as a star fallen from the sky. In the murmur of the river, in the trembling of branches, everyone had learned to listen with an open heart, to receive answers without fear, without expectation. And somewhere, between the shifting waters and the patient wind, Mami Wata still watched, invisible, like one of the keepers of the secret bridges between worlds. If this whispered tale spoke to you, leave behind a breath, a quiet word, and subscribe so that other hearts may one day find their way to the stories from the deep forests of Catiopa. And if you'd like to revisit this story in your own time, the written PDF version is available. See the description below. Until the next tale, may the river's song guide your dreams.